Well, in general, aside from it being April Fool's Day, it's been a relatively calm day news-wise. We had the breaking news from today about Paul Chang stepping down, which was great to see, especially after we found out RCMP are now conducting an investigation, so we'll see what that's all about. And then we had Maxime Bernier have some fun with the homies, saying that he and Pierre Poilievre have joined forces to bring the PPC and Conservatives together once again, and that really got the people going. Some didn't realize what day it was. Others realized the day and said, screw you, Max, I hate you. So it was, quite a different bits of feelings in there. However, that didn't stop the campaigns from continuing on. Today, we had Mark Carney out in Winnipeg, Pierre Poilievre in Newfoundland, and they are showing their true colors, showing where their campaigns are going, what their promises are, and we are getting a very, very clear distinction between the approach of that of Mark Carney and that of Pierre Poilievre. And it is really, really important because, Josh, is a little bit, you're starting to hear a lot of the same things over and over again, and I get it. But the problem is, if you are going to sway hearts and minds, it's time to start breaking down the nuance between the two platforms. And specifically what they shared today is very, very, very important to the regular person and to a Canadian. And that's really important. If you get value out of this, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Please do help us get to 100K. We'd love to see it happen. But the important part is that we continue to keep pushing the messaging forward because it's really important that people understand the difference between the two. That they both are claiming that they want to put Canadians first in their campaign and platforms, but their approaches are vastly different. So it can't all be right, can it? And that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today. So you had Pierre Poilievre over in Newfoundland, and they had Mark Carney in Winnipeg. So we had Mark Carney. We're going to kind of conflate the 2 days. Yesterday, his announcement yesterday, and he kind of reiterated that today. There was nothing really overly new that Carney brought to the table. He talked about how he cut the carbon tax. Now you're seeing that at your gas stations locally. People are seeing as much as a cut of 13 to 20 cents at the pump now. People are just like, wow, I thought we weren't losing all that much money on this. All of a sudden, looks like we were. Fascinating. So he made sure to brag about that. He also made sure to lie 3 times that Conservatives are going to cut childcare and dental care and all that BS. He made sure to lie about that and say that they will be cutting it, even though they're not. And then he reiterated his housing plan. $35 billion going to housing, going to building houses. Remember, the exact words he used was that the federal government is getting back into home building. And considering it's not a federal jurisdiction, it means you're going to get a continuation of what the Trudeau government was, of getting involved in local issues. Because they think they are the best at it. They think that they can control. They think they will do it better. So what he announced was providing a $25 billion financing to innovative prefabricated home builders in Canada and $10 billion to affordable home builders. So that's 35 of taxpayer dollars to private businesses. That was the promise, that they are going to focus on prefabricated homes and get homes built faster and making sure they have a fund specifically for it to go towards those builders. Okay? That was what he promised. And this was the piece that kind of finished it off and tied off the knot of exactly what Mark Carney is planning to do.
C-69, with your plans to build infrastructure in Canada, do you plan to repeal Bill C-69?
We do not plan to repeal Bill C-69, to answer your question directly.
So he has said that he doesn't plan to repeal Bill C-69, which has been a huge red tape bill that is wrapped around any type of project that has been looking to extract and capitalize on our natural resources in this country, because he has to go through these meetings and you have to do this research and you have to bam. That takes years and years and years for anything to get done. And it's really bureaucracy designed to discourage natural resource development. That's why Pierre Poilievre calls it the no pipelines bill, because it may as well be, because there's so much red tape and so much bureaucracy introduced designed specifically to discourage industry from investing in extracting natural resources. And he says here that he says he's not going to repeal it. It's going to stay as it is. So you tell me he's going to try and build Canada strong, right? Yet he's going to keep that bill in place, which is fascinating. So that was Mark Carney, Winnipeg, okay? Then you move over to Poilievre, and his focus was repealing the tanker ban, repealing Bill C-69 within 60 days of gaining office, removing the energy cap and carbon tax completely, actually repealing those things. And he's looking to rapidly increase the permit process for LNG projects in Newfoundland. Pierre Poilievre announced those things today in Newfoundland. But then it got interesting because he brought in his shadow minister to finish off a point for him. And what the issue harvesters are having in Newfoundland. You remember the harvesters that got locked out by Carney at the beginning of this campaign trail? Yes, those same harvesters, Poilievre's shadow minister, addressed those concerns that they've been having.
The 30 by 30 marine protected area agenda is driven by the United Nations, and the radical liberals have signed on to it. And it's a numbers game. It's not a results-oriented program. But we're going to bring our fishing industry to the table, and that includes harvesters, processors, and those who depend on the spin-offs of the bounty of the sea, to make sure we increase opportunity in the fishery, to take as much fish as we can while conserving our ecosystem. That's the choice that's on the table right now for our fish harvesters. A decimated fishing industry with continued oppression, or a common-sense conservative plan to increase opportunity and to bring home more landings and support our communities that depend on the spin-offs.
So you got that. 30 for 30. That is a UN-driven goal, he said. And I'll give a quick description of what he's talking about. The UN's 30 by 30 marine protected area goal is a global conservation initiative aiming to protect 30% of the world's oceans by 2030. This target was agreed upon as part of the coming Montreal Global Biodiversity Framework during the UN Biodiversity Conference, COP15, in 2022. This is the issue that harvesters have been having, is the UN and the WEF and their initiatives that they like to push into these different countries is all, as he said, a numbers game. What do you mean by that? The focus of them has been to what can we do to shine up and polish up these beautiful, amazing numbers that we can share with our billionaire friends to increase investment, to get more money, to get more rich, and how can we oppress these countries and the resources in the process to be able to accomplish those things? That's what this is. As he said, it's a numbers game. There's no thought to actually how it's going to affect biodiversity. There's no thought to how it's going to be affecting ocean life. It's all about how they can squelch opportunity, squelch workers on the ground so that they can look good to their billionaire friends. That's the promise, and that's the frustration workers are feeling. So like, we've been doing this for years. Remember, we watched that over last week where one of the Newfoundland fishers said, I've been doing this for 40 years. I understand what hurts marine life and what doesn't. I understand what overfishing looks like and what doesn't. And right now we are not overfishing, we are underfishing. But they don't trust us because their science is telling us that we're overfishing. Not true. And now they're taking away our jobs and centralizing the fishing industry and putting us all out of work and making us absolutely miserable. That is the 30 by 30 plan. That's why I take a step back from both platforms. If we look at Carney's housing plan, he's saying, as I said, $35 billion that they're investing to prefabricated home builders. It's going to home builders. Which companies are those going to be? Are those going to be BlackRock affiliated companies or Brookfield affiliated companies, Carney affiliated companies who are going to get the first dibs on those deals? Is that what that is? Is it going to go out of the country, or are they going to be preferred clients of Carney's within the country, saying, oh, he can hide behind, Canada first. Yeah, we're, using Canadian companies to build, even though they're all very closely aligned to Mark Carney. Is that what's going to be happening there? Because we even have Ron Butler, who called out the plan himself, who is a real estate expert in Toronto. He says Carney's plan, notice the word homeowner appears nowhere because it's all social housing. There's not one home to buy in this thing. Oh, and to reduce municipal development fees, Carney's replacing them with federal grants. Your income tax dollars pay the freight. And that is the issue with this plan. Remember, Mark Carney said in his plan, or said in his announcement, that he's going to cut municipal development charges in half. He just said that. Didn't say how he's going to do it. And people who just, again, hear things on the surface, run with it and super excited about it. Oh, look at the work he's going to be doing for housing. He's, again, interfering in jurisdictions that aren't his. How is he going to cut that in half? How? Who are the home builders that this $35 billion of taxpayer money is going to be going to? Who is it going to be going to? It's not going to homeowners. It's going to home builders. So what is happening? That is a question we are all interested in hearing more about. So as you take a step back and watch the two platforms right now and their announcements today, you have Mark Carney, whose absolute focus is a globalist focus. It doesn't matter which companies he uses. It doesn't matter what Canadians on the ground think. All it matters is, what do people outside our country think? I don't care what the fishers in Newfoundland say. I'm going to lock them out of my rallies. I care about what the UN's plans are, no matter how poorly informed they are. I don't really care about homeowners. I don't really care about people owning homes, but I care about home builders. I care about companies abroad who can be enriched. You have global programs that Carney's pushing. Then you have Poilievre, who's looking to restore autonomy to our people, our industries, and our natural resources. Carney wants to give first dibs of our natural resources to outside institutions of this country, whereas Poilievre wants to restore our autonomy and our natural resources to our people. Carney wants to build social housing. Poilievre wants to unleash the potential of our home builders so that more houses can be built more affordably so people can purchase them. One's a rental idea, the one's a purchasing idea. Poilievre is own for yourself, and Carney says own nothing and be happy. That's the decision you have. The announcements today are so very clear of what you're going to get. You want a globalist focus, or do you want a national focus? Do you want outside voices having a say over what we do in our country, or do you want the people to have a say of what we do with our country? That's the decision that this election is going to come down to. Carney says that he'll stand up to Trump and protect your jobs. Yes, that might be accurate, but he'll sell out our resources and our industry to others and claim in the vein that he's doing it for the betterment of the country. That is what you're getting. Carney's housing plan is another federal grant that is going to home builders that we don't have any say of who those home builders are going to be. Sounds like another green slush fund incident, but with home building this time. As Jody Wilson-Raybould said, the new guy is starting to look much like the old guy. And that's exactly what we're going to be getting. Anyways, enjoy your afternoon. Hope you had a great April Fool's Day. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one. I'm out.